What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Minecraft Unabridged, and I'm really excited for today's episode because we are going to be doing so much automation, which is always a great thing in modded Minecraft. It's what I look forward to the most. So we are going to be fully automating the crafting of this one block right here, which looks a little weird. It is the Aurora block from Z-Tones. It looks like a kind of a dull rainbow block. And the reason it looks like that is because this is used to chisel into essentially every other Z-Tones block there is. So if we take a look at the Z-Tones mod, you can see that there are all these different types of blocks that we can flip through. And essentially, you can chisel this block into any of these and then back and forth and back and forth. And the block that I use is this corp block right here. And this makes up, I would say, maybe over 7/8 of my base so far. And it's going to stay like that because I really like it. So it would be really nice to have a stockpile of these, and that's what we're going to be doing today. So this block, the reason I'm going to automate it is because if we look at the recipe right here, yeah, the glass doesn't seem bad, and the 7 dyes may not seem bad, but what always happens to me, and I'm sure other players can say that this happens to them too, you go out and you get a bunch of these different types of dye, but you never get the exact same amount. You never get like one stack of each. You get like, 15 of one and 20 of another and 21 of another, and then you come back and you craft like a stack or two, and then you run out of one, so you go and get more of that, and then you run out of 2 others or 3 others, and then it just becomes this whole debacle where you keep going out to get like 1 or 2 different types of dye, coming back, getting like 8 to 16 more blocks, and you run out of another. So this is going to prevent that from happening, and I just never have to do anything. I can just come in here, get the items, and start building. Which is it's really the dream if you think about it. So that's what we're doing today, and it's going to have a lot of little parts that kind of work in tandem to get us that block, which is why my inventory is so full. But we really got to get started because there's a lot to do, and I'm just rambling right now. So we're going to start with this magic dirt, as I would like to call it. It looks like fancy dirt, but the name, I don't even want to try and pronounce that. That's just something I don't even want to say because I don't want to look stupid, or I don't want to look even more stupid than I usually do on camera when it comes to modded Minecraft. So we're not going to say it, we're just going to call it fancy dirt. It does really look like, it looks like actually kind of gross dirt, but that's besides the point. So this is what we need to grow all of these mystical flower seeds for all these different colors. There's 7 of them, which is why we have 7 pieces. And obviously, because we are using the harvester, it starts with a 3x3 in front of it, meaning that we have 9 spaces, so we have 2 extra. And because I have OCD, I'm gonna throw for now some cobblestone down there, so it doesn't look as bad. It still looks kind of bad, but we never have to look at this once we put up a wall here, so I'll live with it for now. Then, of course, because we were doing agricraft, we got to throw down all these crop sticks, and hopefully no weeds grow between planting these in them and putting them down. So now we have the 7 different seeds. We only need 1 for each. So we got the white, the light gray, the red, blue, yellow, black, regular gray. And if we take a look at these, I just want to point this out for all those people that complained about me not having 10, 10, 10 seeds. I now have 10, 10, 10 seeds because apparently they're super easy to get and it's super important that I have them. So yeah, now I have them. So what's up? So we're just going to plant these, and I don't think I need more than just 1 of each seed, and I don't even think I need a sprinkler. I'm forgetting actually that I do need a water source block somewhere around here, I think. I actually don't know if I need one for these. Oh gosh. Yeah, actually I don't know if I need one for these on this soil. I don't know if it needs to be watered. So we'll leave it like this for now. I actually don't think it needs to be watered, but if I do figure that out, then we'll throw some water in there. So now we have the harvester, the tesseract, and the trash can for collecting all of this, and we're just going to throw that setup down over here. It's the same one I used for my other agricraft farm. So you have the harvester, you throw down the trash can for fluids on the side to get rid of any of the sludge that could build up in there, and then you throw the tesseract down on the back of here, and we're going to set this to send items and receive energy. And it looks like we're going to have to sleep soon as the sun is setting on us, but this should be working. And if we take a look at these, they should start growing, so I think they should be okay without water. Yeah, they look like they're fine without water. So this setup should be good, and it's going to send all of that stuff back to our ME system over there. And what I like to do is essentially send everything back there and then just pull it out from there when I need it. So the rest of the setup is going to be over here, and we're going to be, pulling stuff out of there and sending stuff back repeatedly, just so that we don't have to worry about anything kind of overflowing, because obviously the ME system is going to have the best storage that we can get. So this will kind of prevent it from ever overflowing, since we got all this storage up here that it looks like I actually need to upgrade soon. So we're going to sleep, and then we can get back to work, get a bright new day. Yeah, I was working, and I got 2 blood moons actually when I was prepping for today's episode, which was really annoying because my base, let me tell you, it gets overrun. There were creepers all over the place. It was horrible. So that's besides the point, though. Nothing got blown up, so you don't need to worry about that. I know you guys were freaking out. You were like, whoa, creepers, the base is going to get blown up. But no, don't worry, it didn't. So the next and probably the most important thing I would say is this tier 3 crafter. Now, you might usually think you can gimp yourself a little bit and just be like, oh, I'll use a tier 1 or tier 2. Well, no, that's not the case with these, because what it actually does, if you hold shift, it says this machine can handle up to 8 recipes at once and allows recipes to use the other crafting results of previous steps. So the reason we're going to do that, we actually need all 8 of these. So if we look through here, you can see all the different recipes, and this might take me a little because I haven't actually messed around with this before. I've never tried using other recipes for, crafting another recipe in this, but what we're going to do with this is we're going to come down here and we are going to hook it up to an ME interface. And what we're going to do with that is we're going to set it so that we have 8 things in here, and we actually need to come over and go to our system, and if we look up petals, you can see I have a lot of petals right now, and I do have a lot more gray petals, and that's because I had like 4 of these growing when I had the rest of them were just had 1 growing, or some of them weren't even growing initially when I started. I only used gray, but these are what you're going to get from that farm over there. And obviously these aren't dye yet, so you can't just throw them into that recipe. You need to actually make these into a usable dye. So we got to get 1 of each of these, and we're going to throw, you know what, actually we should get a full stack of each of these, because we're going to need to do some testing to make sure it works, and we're actually going to have to use a decent amount of them. So that should be all 7 of them. And what we're going to do is initially we're going to throw just 1 petal. Actually, you know what? This is going to be really weird, because what should happen is if I throw 1 petal in here, I think it should fill this up. Huh. I don't know why it isn't filling it up, but this should have inserted it into there. But what we can do is start filling out these recipes in here, and what we actually need, so like right now we're accessing the first recipe, we're going to use this pestle and mortar, and this is just going to sit in there. And the reason is because you use this in tandem with these mystical petals to make them into what would be considered a usable dye, and you pretty much just we'll throw all of these in here, and we're going to have to create a recipe for each one of these. So that's going to take up 7 of the 8 recipes, and then of course the 8th recipe is going to be used to make this Aurora block. So what we can do with this is just throw this in here for the first recipe, and throw 1 of those in there, and you can see that you get out this floral white powder. And then we got to look at this. So what it says is the first option is we'll keep 1 item in every inventory slot. So that is fine. And then the next one is, this one's important. It says we'll put result of crafting operation in inventory instead of output buffer. Now this is really good because the output buffer is right down here, this 2x2 slot, and that's not where we want them to go, because these recipes are actually going to be the reused ones. So we're going to do and then we're going to hit apply. So you can see now it turns all of those really quickly. Actually, you can set it to be slower, but it turns all of those into floral white powder, and it returns this pestle and mortar back in here, and that's all we could ask for. So the next one that we're going to do is take the same thing and do it with yellow, and it needs to be and apply. And you can see that this will verify that it's all going to work right. It's just because it's going to actually go through and turn all of them into that. And so we're going to do that again with all of these, and it gets, I know, a little repetitive, but that's kind of what you have to do. And we're actually eventually going to run out of power, because I don't actually have it hooked up to any power right now. Oh, you know what? No, this one needs to be set to this, so we need to apply that. Oh, and it just got sent back to our system. No, it didn't. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, and then we got to go down here, and almost done, guys. Almost done. Set it to int. And last one, it looks like we should have just enough power for this. And set it to int and apply that. Okay, so now we're using up 7 of the different recipes in here right now. Oh, whoops. I just got rid of that recipe. Oh, crap. Okay, wait, so if I didn't click apply, it should still be okay, right? Yeah, it is. And let's verify that all these recipes are good. Yep. Okay, they're all good. Now we need to come down to this very, very last recipe. And we need to say that you want to take one of each of these, and I don't remember if it's actually crucial as to which goes in which slot, which color goes in which slot, but I need to get some glass right now, just because we need to get some for the recipe. We can just turn this into regular glass, and eventually we will have it automated to make glass, but I want to get this recipe finished first. So we come up here and go down to the last recipe, and this one doesn't need to keep any extra in here, and we're going to put the glass in there, and then we're going to take a look. Let's take a look at the Aurora block and just get it set up right. So it's black, gray, blue. Okay, so that's not bad. Let's get down to the recipe. So black, gray, that's light gray. That's not the one we want. Black, gray, blue, yellow. Oh, gosh darn it. Black, gray, blue, yellow. Get the 2 glass in there. Red, light gray, and white. Please be right. Oh, guys, I'm so good. I'm so good at this. So this crafts the Aurora blocks. So all the crafting is done for this machine. It should be good. So now all we need to actually do is get it so it should pull those in here automatically. And I thought this would. It might be that I need to pull it into a certain side. But for now, we can set up the rest of it, and then if I have to go off camera to look, I will. But what we need to do is get something that automatically crafts cobble. So we are going to be using the transfer node from extra utilities and just make a little kind of cobblegen area over here. It's going to be really small because it doesn't need to be really big. So it can go just right over here, and let me think the best way to set this up. I'm like really messy when it comes to setting these up in the air, but I don't want lava spilling out onto the ground just because I don't feel like cleaning it up, and I don't want the sea down there to have a nice little gross patch of cobblestone in it. So then the cobble block in the center will be right there, and then the other side will be exactly the same as this, and like that. So then we can just hollow this out. So that'll be where the water goes, and whoops, we can clean up this block right here. So that should be good, and we should have 1 bucket of lava, 1 bucket of water, and I think this should work fine. I will cover these eventually so I don't accidentally step in that. I just thought I almost stepped in it, so that would have been bad. So we can take this transfer node and throw it on here, and then put the world interaction upgrade, and it'll start getting cobble. And this is going to go way faster than it actually needs to, which is why it's important that we keep this filled up with at least like some of these per slot, so it doesn't all fill up with glass. So I think that is what this all means. We're gonna have to switch this. So yeah, I'll just have to see how it works and do a little bit of a test run off camera once I finish this, and hopefully I can get it running smoothly. So we're actually gonna have to bring this up one more because our setup is going to involve pulverizing these and then smelting them too. So we are going to be using the pulverizer and the induction smelter. I would have used the same setup over here, the Ender IO setup, the sag mill and alloy smelter, but this puts out the different type of glass that needs to be crafted back, and I don't know if that's going to work with this, so I would suggest not using that just to be safe. So the pulverizer is going to go up top, and then, oh, thank you, inventory tweaks, we all love you. Where'd you go? There you go. Okay. So the induction smelter will go down there, and obviously we're going to have to run power over here eventually. I'll probably just take it from that tesseract, but we need to set these so that this one is accepting the blue from the back. Oh, that's the back. That's right. Yeah, there we go. And it'll run because it does have some power from when I was testing it before, and then we need to set red to go out the bottom, and that'll put it down here. The induction smelter should start smelting this. Oh gosh, why did I do induction smelter? I needed the furnace. Okay guys, so we are now back, and I've got the redstone furnace ready to go, and I actually have come up with a solution for another problem we had. So we should be good to go, ready to finish this thing. So we can grab the redstone furnace and slap it down over here, and just have to set the config upright so that it is outputting to the bottom, and these should be fine. And then we just need to hook these up to power, and they should be good too. And I'm just gonna switch off all these other sides so that it looks a little bit nicer from outside. and that should be good. The only thing I'm going to need to do eventually is throw a trash can down just to get rid of this gravel so that it doesn't back up the system. I could also just throw it into our ME system, in case we ever need gravel, but I might as well just trash it in my opinion, because we're going to get so much of it. So what we need to do down here to actually get these petals to be inserted correctly is take the interface, make it into a full block, and slap it down right here, and leave a 1 space gap. You can do more, but you need at least one, and then you're going to throw down an item conduit and set it to be always extracting, and this one will be inserting. And what I'm going to do before I start setting this up is actually alter some of the settings in here. So if we take a look at this, we can actually look at the guide over here, and if we open the manual and scroll over, you can see when it talks about the keep/all button, it is only active when a recipe is selected and allows you to control if the recipe will always keep at least a single item in the internal inventory. And that is what we want, because we always want it to keep at least one of these in the internal inventory, because we don't want it to start putting a bunch of glass in here, or it's mainly going to be petals that would fill this up. So we want one slot allotted for the glass. We want one slot allotted for each of these petals. Oh my gosh, I gotta change it before I start doing that. But what we have to do is go to these and set them to keep, and then apply that to all of these, which I should have done the first time around, but I kind of messed up. So these will all be set to keep, and including the Aurora block one. And if you guys don't understand what I'm saying right now, you will in a minute. So what we can do is, now if we put like a stack of these black ones in there, if it does have power, it'll go through it and it'll leave one of those mystical petals in there. And then I want to kind of organize this a little bit better. So we're going to put it like this. So we got all those there, just so I can keep track of things, and all these petals below it. And they should actually retain where they are, I think, since it's going to leave one of them in there all the time. The pestle and mortar can go there. We can actually put this glass block down there. And then the only other thing that we're actually going to have in here, I don't even know if we're going to have anything else in here, other than the Aurora blocks, which will be down here, which we're going to pull out with an import bus eventually. So I think that should be good, and now we can actually come down here, and I got to get one of each of these petals out, because we're going to need one of each of these to be in the system itself, or in the interface, so that it can pull them out and put them in here. So now we got to throw these in here, and we're going to throw one at a time so they're not flowing in here stacks at a time. And the main reason is just because, when it starts crafting with these, I want it to continuously refill and not just be, whenever it has free space for a stack. So you can see it's going to start filling it up now, which is kind of annoying. So if I actually wanted to, I could fill this all up with just complete junk. So I could fill it up with cobble and, pull that out and, replace this too, and replace this one too, just so that it always keeps these all refilled whenever they have an opening. So if we were to pull out 32 of these, it should refill those relatively quickly, but you can see that it doesn't need to pull out a full stack to refill them. You can just have one down there, and then the glass will eventually should get refilled from up here once we get power, and this one should go too. So now the main thing is we got to start wiring some power over here, and we can just do that from this back here, and I guess we can just wire it up and over. Doesn't really matter how it looks. Just wire it along this over here. Yeah, because it's going to have to go along the sides of these. So you can bring it along like this and bring it over. Unfortunately, I don't think it can occupy the same block. Oh my gosh, that looks so bad. That looks so bad. Why does it do that? Oh, why does it do that? Okay, whatever. We'll put some conduit facades on these eventually, but now you can see that they're running, and they should fill this up, and it should be all good. And then once it gets more glass, it should automatically craft more of those blocks. So once it gets 2, I think it should craft it. Yep, you can see it does craft it. It actually, that's why it needs 3. Okay, so that's what the setting does, so that this will always keep these certain sections in here, so that it'll never actually run out. So I guess if you were to say, like, if right now it had 2 glass and it used up both those glass, it would try and refill that with some of the petals instead, and it's important that it keeps that in there. So this will just keep making these blocks, and since these will constantly be growing, they will constantly be refilling our petal supply, which will then refill this and make more of these. So now we just need to finish pulling them out and putting them back into our system, and I think we should be able to use an import bus for that. So we can just throw that down on the crafter, guess if we want back here, and this should pull. Oh, you know what, we're gonna have to set the Aurora block in there so it's only pulling that out, and I think that should work fine. I don't actually know how to properly access the different sides of this, but then I think we can just hook it up to, can we hook it up to this, and will that send it back to our system? Yeah, really slowly. Okay, so I'm gonna have to add some acceleration cards for this, but it should be sending that back to our system, and we can come over here just to verify that it's getting them. Yep, you can see that the Aurora blocks are going in there, and this setup looks really messy. I understand that, but you know, we work with what we got. So I think it'll be cool that I could actually see this constantly running. And something really simple that we can do is actually just add a lever for this, because there is redstone control. So if I really wanted to, I could turn this off, just because, you know, this could overload our system in there once we start getting really high numbers. Like if I take a look at my wood right here, I have 29K, and that was just leaving my wood farm or my tree farm running for a couple days. So this is essentially going to do the exact same thing. So I do need to shut it off eventually, but this is going to be really, really nice to have with the auto crafting and everything. And it shouldn't take up too much power. We can go and look over here at our power and see how it's going, but I do have a lot of excess ender pearls if I really need it. So oh gosh, okay, so it just did a cycle of power generation, so I can't actually see how much it's pulling out right now, but eventually I will be able to. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. That is the automated crafting setup for that. I actually had a lot of fun making this just because I really like automating stuff like this, which I do plan on doing a lot more around my base. But if you guys did enjoy the video, feel free to give it a like. If you feel like there's any ways to improve this setup, feel free to post them in the comments. I am saying in no way that this is the best way to do this setup, because I never do stuff the best way. I always screw things up. But thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you later.